Hi guys, Mindstone here, and today I will be revealing, or not revealing, just reviewing a bit more cards. This time we're going to be doing the Paladin, the Priest, and the Rogue. Starting off, we've got Stand Against Darkness. It summons 5/1/1 Silver Hand Recruits for 5 mana. To me this seems kind of costly. You're going to lose a lot of value if you get board clear, and because there's no Quartermaster in Standard, it's not going to be that amazing. And Knife Juggler got nerfed, so that does hurt it as well. Honestly, I don't see really good use for this card because it just seems kind of weak. I'd rather play a 5 mana minion instead of this most of the time. So I don't think it's going to see a lot of play, even though it might have uses if you're playing a Silver Hand deck, which I don't suppose you will be. Next card up is Forbidden Shaping. I really like this card based off some statistical analysis, because that means that pretty much any 8 drop you get out of this is really high value, and I'd like the flexibility as well, so you can play it as an early game curve card, so if you don't have your curve perfectly, or you can just wait until late game and you can play late game if you want value, depends on the matchup. So I think it's a really strong card, and I think we're going to see a lot of it. We've got Forbidden Healing, which is the Paladin Forbidden card. It seems like it's a lot of healing, but you've got to spend a lot of mana to get this. So I'm a bit skeptical, because usually you don't want to spend that much mana on healing. If you do, you will lose a lot of tempo, and sometimes that might not matter. Not if you're playing against a face hunter or something, but most matchups it will matter, and you wouldn't want to do this for 20. But I guess the card's okay, but I don't see it as an amazing card in any way. The best thing is that you can actually heal minions as well, so it doesn't have to be the face you're healing. We've got a Herald Vulgus. Yes, Herald something. This guy seems pretty good because he's 5/5 for 6. That's not all bad, right? But he copies everything else. And I would say even if he just plays you 2/1/1s, you're almost getting a Doctor Boom out of him for 6 mana. Because usually those minions will have some effects, and that will usually be fairly good if you're building a deck around him. Even stuff like Clerics would be fine because you could get a lot of card draw out of it. So I think you're going to be quite happy with this guy if you have some good cards. I'm seeing a potential synergy with a Twilight Summoner, as I believe he's called. No, the 1/1, which when it dies summons a 5/5, because you're not going to care about the 1/1 buddy, because you're still going to get a 5/5 afterwards. So I think this card might just be really powerful with a good synergistic deck, and I could really see him being played. He seems very, very solid. Then we've got Undercity Huckster. The Huckster seems like it's card draw. So I think if you're playing some funky rogue class that just wants to draw a lot of cards and burn them in your opponent's face, I think it's going to be good. Mainly Death Roll rogue, but I think it's a fairly solid minion. Several Poison Mind. I think he's really good for melee rogue because you can get a lot of spells here, and some of them will actually be quite useful. In general, rogue likes effects like this because they add more cards to the hand, which means you can enable combos and such. So I think he's fairly solid. The stat line's a bit weak, so we might not see all that much of him, but he's fairly okay, and in decks that wants those toxins, you're going to see him. Then we've got Ragnarok's Light Lord. He seems like it's a lot of healing. So if you want to stall out the game, I think he could be fairly powerful, and I think he might just end off a mid-range deck as well. But I think you would usually use the ordinary Ragnaros rather than this, unless you're playing very heavy control, and in which you probably will be playing both of them. But he's definitely an interesting card, and I could see him being used now that healing is actually quite a resource that we're low on in the game right now, except for Paladin and Priest, because they have got a ton of it. Then we've got Shadow and Horror. This seems like a pretty strong board clear because it kills a lot of things. It's only aggro decks that will really punish, but it still seems fairly powerful. I'm really sad it's not a Paladin card, because then you could play Adric and you could coin this out or something dumb and you just kill the entire enemy board. But well, that would be broken anyway, so it's fine. But it seems like a good card. You're gonna get to kill a lot of small stuff. Yeah, pretty much. I don't think we're going to see 2 of it necessarily in the deck, because if you kill everything once, you're probably not going to have to kill it twice. It's because aggro decks quickly run out of juice, and it's a bit expensive if you only clear 2 or 3 minions with it. 3 minions, I'd say it's okay, but on the other hand, it's small minions, and it's not very versatile in that sense. so I don't think you're going to see all that much of it, but it's a fairly solid card. Yeah. Then we've got Steward of Darkshire. This card is fairly okay because it's 3 mana, 3/3. That's good enough. And here's a point where I could actually see the Stand Against Darkness being used, because you're going to get a ton of Divine Shields, and that's going to be very, very funny because you just get a lot of annoying minions. Yeah, but it's just play this, play a lot of things with 1 health, and you get a ton of Divine Shields. You usually want to do it in the same turn unless you feel very confident about this one being on the board, but I think it's okay if you don't, because it's fairly solid for stats. I just think it could get really good if you have some strong stuff with 1 HP. Then we've got Vilefin Inquisitor. This is just a 1/3 for 1. That's fairly good. Which buffs your hero power. It is some fun stuff where you're going to be summoning Murlocs. So I think Murloc Paladin might just have a future with this card, and if there's some Murlocs in the next expansion maybe, or the next one, because I don't think it's going to be enough to make a Murloc deck viable by itself, but it's a good way, like it's doing a good job though, because it actually really tunes the class in for being a Murloc class. So I think the card is very needed, and I think it's going to be very, very solid. Yeah, but I don't think I've got that much to say about it, because it's not really going to be viable, especially not now that Old Murgai leaves Standard, but it's a strong card, if there's some more Murlocs in the game. Then we've got Thistlet, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It is a draw card, and you're going to get copies of it. So I think it's got an interesting effect that you can gain multiple copies of your deck, of copies of a card in your deck. So I think that certain decks like Milrook might just want this over other card draw sources, but I'm still a bit skeptical, because the 2 copies of an extra card doesn't offer you a lot of flexibility. You can't really answer more well than you could have if you drew just the 1 card. It's kind of priced. You could go Nourish for 5, which has another effect it could choose out of, and you get to draw 3 cards at that point, actually, if you choose the card draw. So I think Thistlet might just be slightly weak and not that good, but I could see certain decks playing it and having a lot of good time with it, in case you do not want to mill into out of your deck. So maybe Control Rook, you could play this instead of Sprint, so you can actually play a lot of low cost cards and still have those tempo aspects, but actually be playing Control. So yeah, there's potential, but I doubt we're going to see a lot of it. We've got Embrace the Shadow, which seems like a worse version of Orkney Soul Priest. It does cost less, but you still don't enable yourself to do big fat villain combos, so, and especially now that we have Sami Chow leaving Standard, you're not going to have all fancy stuff happening all over the place. So I don't think it's going to see that much play, if any at all actually. Maybe a single one Reno, if you're playing 1 Orkney Soul Priest and 1 Embrace the Shadow, I can see that being played, but probably nowhere else. Then we've got Shadowcaster, a Rook card, which seems really broken to me, because this card just enables you to pick up anything, a Rakdos, I don't know, something you have on the board, and play it again, the same turn, usually. I think that's just insanely good, and if you can ignore the stats. And most cards can just ignore those stats if they have a strong battle cry or a strong death rattle. So you want to make sure that the card you're taking has almost all of its value, or the mana cost it usually, all the cost you would usually pay to get it out there. What the benefit from that mana would be lie in the effect. Because then you nullify the cost, but you don't really nullify the effect. So that's what you want to do with this. I can see it in Death Row Rook, I can see it in Mali Rook. I think it's one of the coolest cards in the expansion. I think you're going to see a lot of fun decks with it. If it's competitively viable, I don't know, because it's a fairly odd effect, but I could actually see it just being played with SI agents and being fairly strong there. So I think we're going to see some of it. How powerful it'll be, I can't say, but it's going to be fairly good. Then we've got Shifting Shade, a Priest card. This is like the Undercity Huckster, really, but you're picking out their deck, not their class, so you don't get all the shitty cards, but you get cards that might not fit into your playstyle. Unless you're playing against a Control Warrior, in which case you'll be really, really happy, because you get a big fat card. But Shifting Shade seems fairly strong, honestly, because it's a death rattle card, And if you're playing some Nossoth Priest, which might happen someday, it could have it would be in there. But yeah, it has 4 attack, so it's good in a mirror matchup. You're not going to get totally destroyed by another priest with it. It has card draw. Priest usually likes that. But I see the downsides in a low HP pool. Priest is not very fond of that. And I see the another downside in that you're getting, if you're playing against Face Hunter, it'll just be useless because it's not very good for killing minions, and you get a Face Hunter card, which is like absolutely useless for you. So there's downsides, but the meta goes very heavy. I'm expecting to see this card a lot because it's fairly strong at that point. We've got Twilight Darkmender, which can really heal you for a lot. In my, I'm just like, if you're playing Cthun, you're gonna be playing this card because it's gonna heal you for 10, which is insane for stalling the game, and it's fairly solid stats for 5 mana actually. So I would definitely say this card is going to see play if Cthun Priest becomes a thing. It's obviously garbage if you don't have Cthun in your deck, but most of the time you'll be able to get the healing, and that'll be very powerful. So I think the card's absolutely insane, and we're definitely going to see it. Sassy Squid Face. I'm very skeptical about this card, because I don't really see where it would fit into Rogue except for Pirate Rogue. And I don't see that as a competitive archetype, but yeah, there might be something. I think it's going to be amazing in Arena, because you're buffing up your weapon is usually amazing. But you're going to hold your weapon in that case. But I think that might be okay. You're doing that most of the time anyway. So yeah, I can see the card being played. It's not garbage in any way, but it's just not amazing in any way either. Especially now that Blade Fury is getting nerfed, it might not be something you could play in Oil Root or something, because Oil Root doesn't exist anymore. Then we've got Shadow Strike, which is 5 damage and undamaged character. It seems a bit overcosted to be actually the successor of Backstab. I still think Backstab's going to see a lot of play here, and this one won't really see that sort of play. It could be useful, just one of it maybe, because it's 5 damage to something. It'll kill a lot of things. As an example, it would kill Twilight Darkmender. So I think there's uses for it, but it's not going to see a ton of play. It's not an amazing card in any way, but it's one that Rogue might just actually like. Then we've got Selfless Hero, which is actually a very, very nice card. The expansion's been lacking 1-drop. Actually, 1-drops in this game just suck usually, but this is actually a 1-drop that I think is amazing. Because you play this, and if you play late game, you'll get the Divine Shield on something big, which is really, really good. If you play it early game and it does not get pinged off, you'll get Divine Shield or something, and you'll get a huge tempo advantage. So I think it's just being a really, really strong card. I think it might be even too strong with the 2-1 stats. So I think we're definitely going to see this in every form of Paladin. Maybe just one in Control Paladin. But I think you need 1-drops there as well, so you're probably going to be playing it, and you're just going to be like, oh well, it's Divine Shield if you're playing it late game. So yeah, I think it's very, very good, and you're going to see a lot of this. Then we're going to add Rallying Blade, which is doubtable. It's like, it's a bit overcosted for 3 mana. With 3/2, but you've got a cool enough battle cry that's definitely not viable in Control, but it might be viable in aggro or mid range, even though I doubt it. You're going to be playing Agent Squires with this. You're going to be playing Selfless Heroes. You're going to be playing all the Divine Shields you potentially can put in there. Sadly, you don't have Shielded Minibot, so you're not going to get that dream Agent Squire Shield Minibot Rallying Blade, but you're still having a fairly solid option in it at some time. But there's not this dream curve, which means you might not be able to play it. So I think I'm fairly skeptical, and I don't think the card is going to see all that much play. But obviously it's a weapon, and Paladin is having lots of weapons, but they wouldn't mind another one because they lose Carkhammer and Muster. So it could see play, but it's not likely to see that much. Then we've got Power Tentacles. This card seems, at my first glance, I'm like, wow, that's amazingly cool if you look at the theme. But when I look at it as gameplay, I'm like, why would I ever put that in my deck? Because it's like super overcosted. Even though it's good stats, right? It's just really, really overcosted. I would pay 4 mana for those stats, not 5. You could think of it as Blessing of Kings, with a bit redistributed stats, and just 1 mana or more, and I don't see why that makes sense for me to play. Yes, in a mirror matchup in Priest it could be amazing because you add some 2 attack creature to 4 attack, and it would murder everything and be unable to be cleared. But I don't see that happening, so I think it's just not good. I don't think you're gonna be playing this, even though it's a lot of health. It's a bit too much. You don't need that much. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna see play. We've got Journey Below. This is for Death Rattle Rogue, really, but it's a combo enabler mostly because you just play it and you get some cards you don't really care about, at least unless you're playing Death Rattle Rogue, and you play Asylum and kill something, or Edwin, or something funny. I think the card might be okay, but it's fairly doubtable how good it actually will be. Then we've got Hooded Acolyte, and this card seems like the stats fair, and the effect is a bit weak, but it's okay. If you're playing Season Priest, you're probably going to be playing one of these or something, because I think you can just play it on 4 and you're having a threat. If you're playing Northshire Cleric as well, which you probably are, because you're playing Priest, you're having that in every Priest deck, your heals suddenly get quite dangerous, and I think that you should actually be trying to heal oftentimes. And this has a large HP pool, so you can often just heal itself and get the effect, which should be okay. So yeah, I think the card's alright, but it's nothing that I'm just like, well, that's OP. But you're going to be playing in Season Priest. Now we've got Divine Strength. This card seems fairly okay. I can't say that it's amazing in any way, but it seems okay. Mainly because that it's cheap and you can play it to get a strong minion early. So if you're playing these Divine Shield decks, I could really see it being played. Even though I'm a bit doubtful that it'll be better than Blessing of Might. I think it might be whatsoever, because you get the health. And that's a bit better, so you don't just get pinged off. I think you might have wanted to be a 2-1 instead of 1-2, because that's a bit more good if you have a 1-1 on the board, and you can buff it up like that. But it's fairly okay, and I think it might see some play, but on the other hand, the card's quite insignificant in its, well, in a control deck, and you're definitely not going to see it there. In mid-range, you wouldn't want to fill 2 of them in, because they're not giving you a very strong offensive advantage or a control advantage, so I don't really see it there. I could see it in aggro, but it's still a bit too defensive, so I don't really see where it fits in, but the card's not bad like that. It's alright, but I just don't see where it fits in. So maybe a bit, but not that much. Shy Alchemist. This card seems like really strong to me, because it's got very solid stats: 4 attack, 5 health. That's really good. That's Yeti. Yeti's always been amazing. And then you've got this really powerful battle cry that might just give you a lot of tempo or protect you from the aggro. And I think both of these are really amazing. And if you're playing Organized Soul Priest, the turn before you got 5 damage battle cry, which is dumb. Like, ain't got nothing to say on that. It's just dumb. So I think this card will definitely see play in most Priest decks. Actually, everything that has space enough to put this in will be playing it, and yeah, I think it's really going to be worth it. So even though it's a common and everything, I think the card's amazing, and you're definitely going to see it in an arena as well. It's going to shape the Priest arena meta quite a lot because it's a common, and you're going to see it often. So yeah, really solid card. Then we've got the Blade of Cthun. This card seems like he's really high cost for the mana. I think you're gonna be looking at him as an assassinate and a 4/4 mana minion, because you're gonna be sitting a lot with them and waiting for some big minions so you can buff your Cthun, but it's like he's gonna require your entire turn, so your opponent really has to do something dumb, like playing a Yashara and pulling out, I don't know, an Agent Squire or something from his deck. And then you can actually afford to play this, because it takes your entire turn if you don't watch out. So I think it's a good card because you've got insanely high value out of it, but I think it's very dangerous as well. Because it's going to sit in your hand, and it's not very, even though it kills something, if you're being behind, it might not help you all that much, because so much of the value is actually invested in giving that Cthun more attack and health. But yeah, it's a cool card, and you're gonna see it. Probably just one of them in Season Rogue, I believe. Then we've got Blade Occultist. This is a 1 mana card that a Rogue actually really wants because it has that really good effect of either it is played as the combo and you get a 2/3, or it's played as a combo enabler and it's 1 mana. So it has this very, very strong versatile use that definitely will see play just because it's a very solid minion. You're probably not going to see all that many of them because Rogue usually has a fairly solid early game, and I don't think you need them if you have backstabs for combo enablers. So probably just 1. But some aggressive Rogue could definitely see 2 of them. I'm not very much doubtful about that. Now we've got a Light in the Darkness, which is Paladin. Funny things. I think the +1/1 is fairly insignificant most of the time. It's cool enough, but it doesn't really matter unless you're playing mid-range or aggro, and you're not going to be playing this in aggro because it's way too insecure, and in aggro you really want consistency. In control I could see it, but the 1/1 probably wouldn't matter because you just pick a big minion, and usually you'll pick a big minion anyway. So yeah, I don't know. But on the other hand, it could be in control that you don't know what you're going to be doing on turn 2 because you don't have anything good, and you're just dropping this, and either you get a 3-drop you can play next turn, and you actually ramped up instead of tempoing with the 2-drop, and then you got a more powerful 3-drop, or you pick up something big that's in case you're playing control against control, and that's fairly good. So I like the flexibility that the discover mechanic gives you, but I could see it mostly in mid-range, almost as the same function that Machine Curator has as for Priest. So yeah, I think it's a fairly okay card, but it's nothing special. But that's the last card I have to show for you today, guys. Yeah, it's the last card I've got. So I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I hope you learned something. I hope you're excited for the new cards. I am, at least, and I will see you